Climate change is one of the most contentious issues of our time. Many people are firm believers that it's man-made, and others think that either the Earth is warming naturally or it's not warming at all. Well, Paul Strand talked to a scientist who's a Christian and her husband, he's a pastor, about why they believe climate change is a very real and present danger.
This may come as a surprise to many. Two of the more respected believers in climate change are evangelical Christians with conservative leanings, a popular pastor, and his wife, a scientist time-named one of the 100 most influential people in the world. And Katharine Hayhoe's influence is growing here in Washington and with audiences both secular and religious across the world. Because this particular Christian's job adds weight to her contention, there's overwhelming evidence of climate change.
There's 26,500 indicators of a warming planet all around us, many of them in our own backyards.
Hayhoe heads up the Climate Science Center at Texas Tech.
We see our plants and our flowers and our bushes flowering earlier in the year. We see birds and animals and insects much further north than they've ever been before. We see that sea level is rising, glaciers are melting, our weather patterns are changing.
CBN News talked to Hayhoe and her husband, Pastor Andrew Farley, in his home state of Virginia. Growing up there, he considered global warming an environmental fad.
Whether it's save the whales or hug the trees or eat granola, wear hemp.
Farley and his bride fought over climate science for about 2 years.
And I would even go to climate denier websites and find all the ammunition that I could find and come back to her and say, but honey, what about this and what about that?
The evidence Hayhoe and others had of a definite radical spike in temperatures and carbon dioxide finally got to Farley.
Her determination to show me the facts, and then, quite frankly, going to NASA's website and looking at global temperature over the last 200 years and just saying, look what's happened, here's this spike, it's undeniable. Either all of NASA is duped or, maybe there's some validity to this thing.
The other day on Capitol Hill, some 400 moms and their kids gathered for a play-in protest against climate change and carbon pollution. It was a play-in because most kids are too rambunctious to sit still for a sit-in. Their moms were saying energy restrictions they see as reasonable could reduce some 150,000 asthma attacks a year among children and up to 6,600 premature deaths. It's concern for kids like these and their own that has Hayhoe and Farley anxious to see the world do something.
Often people think that we really only care about this climate change thing maybe because of the polar bear.
But Hayhoe says global warming is hurting, even killing thousands of people now, like causing stronger, longer heat waves.
In 2003, there was a heat wave in Europe that led to 70,000 premature deaths. That's 70,000 people died who would not have died otherwise because that heat wave was so extreme.
And stronger, frequent rainfalls leading to more flooding.
The air is warmer, more water evaporates out of the ocean and lakes and rivers. When a storm comes along, as it always does naturally, there's more water vapor available for that storm to pick up and dump on us. We're also seeing that hurricanes are getting not more frequent, but stronger because they get all their energy from warm ocean water.
And in the future, she sees trouble coming for millions, especially those on coastlines.
There are nearly 300 million people who will lose their land as sea level rises this century.
Her frequent public appearances, reasonable arguments, and down-to-earth style have led some to say Hayhoe's the best communicator about climate change in the world.
She is at the intersection of science and faith. She's bringing her expertise in the science field, and she's bringing her faith in Jesus Christ, and she's saying, hey, Christians, this thing, this time, is actually real, and we need to be doing something about it.
Hayhoe works to rule out natural suspects that could warm the Earth, like the sun has done in the past.
For the last 40 or 50 years or so, the sun's energy has been going down while our Earth's temperature has been going up.
How about the natural cycles that happen over centuries?
The next thing that should be happening on that time scale is another ice age, but we're getting warmer and warmer.
As she points to her number one suspect, you see the evangelical in this scientist and child of missionaries come alive.
When we burn coal and oil and natural gas, it releases that carbon trapped in those fuels into the atmosphere. And in the atmosphere, we already have this amazing natural blanket that God has designed for our planet that keeps us almost 60 degrees warmer than we would be otherwise. When putting all that extra carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, we're adding to that blanket. We're overheating. That's what we're doing to our planet.
Pastor Farley says Christians are scripturally bound as God's stewards of the earth to take action if two things are true.
Is this happening, and are we contributing to it? And those answers are yes and yes.
Hayhoe suggests fighting globally for practices and methods that reduce carbon emissions and then reducing your own carbon footprint. You can start simply.
If every home in the entire United States replaced just one light bulb with a new LED, that would be like taking 1 million cars off the road. And we would each save $30 in electricity over the lifetime of the bulb, even taking into account the fact that the bulb costs more than a regular one.
Then just keep encouraging yourself and others to reduce carbon output. Like with commuting. Mix it up sometimes. Work from home, carpool, take public transport, or bike. I've been commuting like this happily for 42 years now. And buy locally grown or made. Insulate, recycle, compost. Even if Farley and Hayhoe are wrong about global warming, you'll at least make for a cleaner, healthier planet. Paul Strand, CBN News, Washington.
And Paul's been practicing what he preaches for a long time. He's been bicycling to work, yes, for 42 years. Just take some practical steps. You know, it's a shame global warming has become such a political issue instead of a scientific issue. And you can debate a lot about the hockey stick charts about global warming, but here's another hockey stick chart that there's no debate about, and that is the rise of exterminations on our planet, where whole species are being completely wiped out. We're in an incredible cycle over the past century where we don't even know the extent of extermination, of how many species have gone out of existence, because we don't even have an accurate track of how many there are on the planet. Now, the major cause of that has been loss of habitat, but regardless of the cause, you look at who ultimately is the cause, and that's us. So imagine if you were a parent and you built a wonderful garden and you went away for a while and you left it to your kids to take care of. Maybe you'd expect they wouldn't water the plants, or they might let the grass grow a little long, but you wouldn't expect them to completely wipe it out. And right now, what we're doing is wiping out whole species. And we need to change. We need to get smarter about how we live together on this planet. It's the only one we have. There isn't a planet B. There's not a plan B here that we can all move to. We've got to take care of the one that God has given us, and we need to be very good stewards from this point forward. Well, Katharine Hayhoe has a lot more to say about climate change and Christian responsibility. You can watch her full-length lectures on her YouTube channel. That's the link, and you can find that link on our website at cbnnews.com. Wendy?
Paul Strand is my new hero.
He's your new hero?
Actually, he's been
You're
my
going to
hero
start
for a while.
bicycling to work?
No, he does it in Washington, D.C., which
Can
is
you at least
crazy.
get one light bulb?
I can do that.
Okay.
I can do a light bulb.